Welcome, everybody. Submission Fishing Live. My name is Muto. Thanks for joining. Leonard, what's going on? Dario, welcome. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages, man. Having that baby life out there. Dave Rage, what's going on? Welcome. Jessica, welcome. Welcome. We got Coach in the house. Welcome, Coach. Yeah, we got a pretty good show for you guys today. Wait for some more people to roll in here. Basically, we're going to have Coach come on. He's going to talk to us a little bit about fishing in La Jolla, differences in La Jolla as opposed to the bays. I know we do a lot of bay fishing, so he's going to give us some cool knowledge and insight, some tips maybe, because I know a lot of us have been out there. I know I've been out there every week for the past couple of weeks. Now that I've been out of the Spotty Bowl, it's been La Jolla City. Me and Salty been out there a lot. So Salty, welcome. Eric, El Sueño, welcome, man. Thanks for joining. Jesse, welcome. Yes, like I was saying, I got Coach coming on. He's going to just give us some of his knowledge based on La Jolla, any little tips, just, things that we don't normally get. Like I said, we always talk about bay fishing, so I think it's nice to get a little insight out there because we've all been out there. What is La Jolla? Yeah, Eric, this isn't the show for you. Maybe we will see you next week. Just kidding. You can stay. You'll learn something. You come out there with us one of these days. If we need to, I'll tow you out. I'll carry you out and throw you back on your kayak once we get to the launch. I feel like you can do it. Cave Dog, what's going on, man? Yeah, Salty. La Jolla is a magical place full of disappointment. It is, but I mean, you still catch, right? We're out there to get like the yellowtail and the bigger stuff for sure. But even still, if you compare it to the bay, I mean, we're out there in the bays catching fish like crazy. You can still do that in La Jolla. I mean, even when we don't get the big stuff, it's like I'm still out there crushing calicos like crazy. I didn't get any barracuda last week. I wasn't going for them too much, but calicos like wild. Yeah, Dario, it is busy. Busy out there getting back on the yak. Salty's heartbroken, man. We've been out there for last couple of weeks trying to get them. Yellers are biting at the islands. Yeah, that's what I hear. I mean, so they're coming around. I mean, the water, certainly turning up, but they were here last week too. Like a couple weeks ago or last week, yellowtails were out biting on the squid like crazy. Me and Salty went out there last week and couldn't get on them. Yeah, the leopard sharks. I was going to say that the leopard sharks are out. I guess they're spawning or they're incubating embryos. So I guess they stay in till summer, up until the winter or December is my understanding. I was looking into that today. So they're out there. That'll be cool. Try to get some footage of that. Zach Riggs, what's going on, man? Good to see you again. Thanks for joining, everybody. Welcome, Zach. So what else we got planned for you? I got a couple rigs I can show you guys after we're done with Coach. So I'll give you guys some tips about catching the squid. Like as far as the rigs you can use, like I didn't really think about catching squid for bait, until recently. I just, found out it was a thing. People started doing it. So give you guys a little knowledge about what I've learned the last couple of weeks, catching some live squid out there instead of having to, you can't really buy it as far as I know. Maybe some places carry it. They used to carry it. It was funny when I was younger. I was telling somebody this. We used to always fish live squid back when I was on charter boats. It was like, that was the bait, was the live squid, and then really just disappeared. Now everything is anchovies, pretty much primarily anchovies, and I don't hardly ever see the squid anymore. Bluefin foamer, so 9 miles off. Man, so they're still out there. Man, I saw them a mile off a couple weeks ago, so that's crazy. They're still here. Dave Rage is the only lucky one so far to get that yellowtail. Let's see what else we got here in the news real quick. You guys check out safefishing.com. Really appreciate if you guys go look at that. It's about sport fishing having to change their engines, so they're trying to pass some new laws. So give it a look, see if you can, see what you think about it. Sign the petition if you can. It'll really help out for the future. I mean, it's just regulations and emissions things that they don't have any power over, and they just won't be able to change. So if you guys want to keep fishing on sport boats, do it. I mean, otherwise you're going to be fishing off your own boat. And that's a lot more expensive. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, the Leopard Sharks. And then shout out to Captain Adobo and Brian. So not the Fishy Hour, the Spotty Bowl is a local tournament here in San Diego we've been doing for the past, seems like forever. I know 12 weeks or more. I think longer than that. It's gone, I think, since like the beginning of the year. So it's a local tournament where we fish spotted bay bass. A lot of us in the chat were doing it here. I was part of it. I did the second half. Then we had the playoffs. I was eliminated in the first round, and they're down to the finals now. So it's going to be Brian. Brian likes to fish, and Captain Adobo. So congratulations, guys. That's awesome. I've been telling people, Adobo, keep their eye on you, man. I was like, this is the guy. He's creeping up. This was even before the playoffs. I was like, he's been quiet, been sneaking in there, but those numbers have just been consistent. And that's exactly what you've been doing, man. Just flying under the radar and smashing it. But in this tournament, that's all that matters is you get hot when you need to, start playing well when you need to. And you're doing that. So that's exciting. I know everybody wants you to beat Brian. We love Brian, but he's like the Patriots, right? He's got the boat, the nice gear. He wins it like every other week. So nobody wants to see him win again. So you gotta take us kayakers on your shoulders, take us to victory. If Brian wins, I guess that's okay too. But yeah, good showing from everybody. And that was a fun tournament, and excited to see all the changes next year. I think it'll be even better. Yeah, Dario, Team Yak, let's go. Yeah, I think that's really all I had. And are you ready, Coach? We'll bring in Coach, and we'll just talk a little La Jolla fishing. See what awesome wisdom he has to impart into us. Welcome, Coach Werf, everybody. WerfTV. Go find him on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel, and thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem, man. So what is it? What is it? Today? Where is it that you feel that the knowledge isn't out there that you're looking for?
I don't know if it's the knowledge. We fish so many bays, and it's like we know spotty fishing. Like I think everybody here can go catch a spotty with a blindfold on, spotted bay bass, and all those inshore fish. But the spotties aren't really out there in La Jolla. So we go out there in La Jolla, and primarily everybody's looking for the yellowtail, right? I mean, that's what people go to La Jolla for. But there's so many other species out there that you don't find in the bays. We've got the calicos you can get in there. There's a lot you can get in the bays, but they're not as prominent. But the spotties aren't really out there, and you can get just different species that are not readily available. It's just a different fishing. So I think if people go out there geared up for spotted bay bass, they're going to be disappointed, when they show up with totally different gear, ultralight gear, and they hook up on a white sea bass or a black sea bass or a yellowtail, and they just get spooled out and smoked out. So, yeah, I mean, anything like that. I just want people to be a little more prepared for what they go out for and what they can expect.
Well, I guess in my mind, when I was on the kayak a long time. For 7-8 years, I was out there 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week. Yeah, I was pretty dedicated, and I did fish La Jolla quite a bit. I ended up not fishing La Jolla because I didn't find the experience enjoyable in the way that I wanted it. So I switched up my tactics and my areas a little. We can talk about that too if you want.
Yeah, definitely.
But I ended up just learning a whole different thing. So I threw out all the knowledge I had on La Jolla, and then I went and learned a whole new set at a new place, and I didn't regret it. I didn't look back.
And then was that like offshore? I mean, when I say offshore, like off the outside of a bay, was it?
Yeah,
off the coast. Interesting.
Yep, west of Mission Bay.
Nice.
And
that's what you were telling me in chat.
Yeah, I kind of learned the language of that area from Wreck Alley and the area off the roller coaster and the pier and Crystal Pier down south of OB and out 5 or 6 miles. That was home sweet home for a while.
Nice. And so how do you get out there? What's the launch plan?
When I fished La Jolla, what I would do is I would launch. Of course, this was before the NPAs. So I would launch and head north. I would launch and head north, and I'd go fish the arms of the
Interesting.
canyon that were north of the pier.
Interesting. So you go up towards Point Loma, right? Yeah.
Well, when I would launch out of Mission Bay, I would launch from Mariners. I'd go around the corner and I'd exit the front of Mission Bay. And after a while, after fishing out there for years, I just knew what to do because I would just read it and know what my game plan was when I came out of the gate. And I just came prepared. I always had a super heavy outfit, a fairly heavy outfit, and a semi-lighter outfit. I never went any sort of light gear out there.
Right. So you didn't even bother bringing your bay stuff, bass stuff.
No.
Nothing like that. Yeah. That's one of the things, because I think a lot of guys go out there, we're primarily spotty fishermen, you know, from the bays, and once they venture out, it's a whole different world, man. Those fish are heavy. So
those fish are heavy.
You run into sharks too, big sharks.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all that stuff. So yeah, just be prepared, guys. So what is it you found? Would you like catching out off Mission Bay more so than La Jolla?
Well, I could have a multi-tiered game plan. So I could go out, and if the shallow stones didn't have any really big bass on them, or white sea bass in a couple of areas, which I am not going to talk specifics. I'll talk general all day,
course.
But I will not get into specifics on that. Even if you message me and you're my brother-in-law, I won't, there are certain things I won't share directly with you. I'm sorry, but it's true.
We understand.
So I could go out and I could fish rockfish in the afternoon, maybe. Then right towards the sundown, I'd be looking for some diving birds, maybe cast for some yellowtail, maybe drift a live bait here or there for some white sea bass. By the way, the only place I ever got a 3-limit of white sea bass in my life, including even when I used to go up to the Channel Islands and everything, I used to go on the party boats up there. The only time I ever got a 3-limit of white sea bass was within about 600 or 700 yards of the Mission Bay mouth.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's the only time I've ever done it. I've spent a lot of time on the water across Southern California, and that's the only time I've ever accomplished that.
I mean, that's pretty. I've never accomplished that. That's pretty impressive. So, is there like a go-to rig you use for? I know a lot of people use like the dropper loop or the free bait, free rig. You know, they kind of bounce that for halibut, sand bass. Is there like a go-to you use, or are you specific kind of to everything that you're fishing?
So fishing rockfish, I would fish spider hitch. I use a single. I don't do doubles. If I do a double, then my bottom is going to be a jig of some kind. So my spider hitch is above, going down to a jig, or my weight, usually just a weight. A lot of times I just fish single hook stuff because the last thing you want is 2 50-pound soup fin sharks on each loop. Right. Even on 60-pound, it's just a mess. So
that makes sense.
Or you know, two 35-pound leopards. I mean, it's
not going to happen.
It's a noose, and then God help you if you get it up like that, right? Because then you're dealing with one fish thrashing around. He might pitch your jig out into your lap while the other, you know. So a lot of times I just ran a single hook, and I would use either chunk bait, or if I could get it, small enough live bait or live squid when I could get that. We could talk about that a little if you want. But I'd start.
That's what we were talking about, because the live squid is like, it's been the hot ticket this year. I mean, that seems to be what everybody's going for, what everybody's using. So that's definitely that's the new buzz this summer for sure.
I mean, there are certain areas that have produced squid over the years. I don't want to get too much into it because those guys are super territorial, but you know, I've always said it looks kind of like spaghetti on your fish finder on most older fish finders. I don't know what it looks like on the new ones, but in the old ones, you'd see like the little spaghetti lines that would be up 2 feet off the bottom. If you see that, I don't mean ropes or snakes. I'm talking about little squiggly lines above the bottom. When you see that, a lot of times that can be squid. And squid, when it's available, the fish are keyed on it. They want it. They are there for it. They don't care about anything else. A lot.
Yeah, I think that's been the story. We went out last week and we found it. I mean, when I say we found him, I mean Salty found him. And then let us know where they were at, but other people were having trouble finding them. But yeah, we were getting on some squid for sure, and it's cool. I've never actually fished for squid before, so that was interesting. So at the end, I'll show you guys what I've been using for catching the squid and stuff. But it's good stuff.
But yeah, I mean, anytime squid are available, the fish are going to key on it. anytime the red crabs are available, the fish are going to key on it.
So it's basically whatever the happening bait is the one to go to.
They will pick.
What I mean, happening bait, whatever nature's throwing at them or supplying.
They will show an absolute affinity for anything that's slow moving, anything that's high in fat or high in energy content, or anything they don't have to work too hard to get. They will key in on those things first.
That makes sense.
Squid, red crabs. Sometimes sand ebs are a really important forage for some fish.
Interesting. I never really thought about that, because you think a mackerel's got to be a pain in the ass. When we're fly lining mackerels, it's like those things are fast. They're big, they're fast. That makes sense that they would want to, go and eat something that's a little more manageable for sure. I didn't really cross my mind that much. That's, you got to think of nature is going for the weakest, right?
Yeah,
weakest or young or going for the easy prey. Yeah.
Though the conservation of energy is the first law of Mother Nature, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So if you look at the average person, if there's a walkway around a little tiny nose planter, what always happens? The bushes get trampled in there, and the people cut across there because
that's true.
It's just in your nature to try to to not walk that extra 3 steps if you don't absolutely have to.
Yeah. So Salty has a question. He said, with the OB Pier being closed for so long, how do you feel about kayaking out of it?
I used to kayak there pretty regularly. When it's flat enough, I used to launch south of the pier. Again, a lot of what I fished was in the evening. I didn't fish much in the morning. That way I could fish the afternoon rockfish, maybe lingcod, maybe flatfish bite. Then I could transition to bass and sculpin as the sun went down, or yellowtail or white sea bass if I thought they were around. And then as full night came on, that was targeting trophy sculpin, giant bass, sometimes white sea bass in early spring and late fall, and sharks. So, I mean, I went into it knowing that I was going to be changing my plan up during the day, and I was going to be targeting during the most active periods I possibly could.
Nice. So a good, viable plan for sure. What you're saying sounds like a green light.
Yeah, and of course, if the birds pop up, or you see the ponies, but dolphins. If you see dolphins pushing bait, you can always change up your plan. You always have a heavy jig tied on your heavy rod, so that if it comes down to it, you can go over there, and if you can mark them at depth, you can target them.
Right. I've
personally caught a lot more big fish on jigs deep than I have on any kind of surface jig or when they were pushing bait.
Interesting. Yeah.
Again, I think we're talking about the law of the conservation of energy, right?
Right.
So they'll come up and they'll feed really hard, but then when they go down, all those fish that they injured are going to be filtering, or fish, squid, crabs, whatever that they injured are going to be filtering down through the water column. So I think that's what makes that and particularly from the kayak, such an effective thing.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, from a sport boat, casting a surface iron 90 yards is no problem. Then you have lots of contact with the. Well, I shouldn't say it's no problem. It's no problem for a guy who's used to it.
Right. Yeah.
But you aren't going to get a 90-yard cast off of your kayak. The mechanics of it are just impossible.
No, it's true.
So,
Dave Rage wants to know, when fishing for live squid, do you use a squid sabiki or just a normal sabiki? So, Dave, we'll let Coach answer that, but I got some things to show you.
I mean, if you're willing to go for a full-time dedicated squid rig, it is absolutely fantastic. On the other hand, if what you have is your kind of an old decrepit one, but if that's what you have with you, you use it. They will latch onto a sabiki, especially one with glow beads. So I've seen some guys modify them with treble hooks or whatever to help hold on to the squid a little bit. But I think you use what you have, or if you got the money and you can plan ahead, a dedicated squid rig, pretty amazing.
And what does that involve?
Usually instead of droppers coming off, it's a single line going up, and then you have, like, how do you describe that? That ring of nasty, sharp things that's at the back of a squid jig. They have 6 or 7 of those with a glow bead, sometimes a little skirt, or sometimes with a little weight on it, on up the line, and they got 5 or 6 or 8 of those. They work. Is that what you got?
I have a normal sabiki, and I'm going to throw this on the back, but I've seen those dedicated squid jigs, and I've seen it. They look like a sabiki, but they've got those little crowns, stacked up the way. Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, you obviously use what you have, but you know, if you can get a squid rig and you know that they're there, or you strongly suspect they are, and you want to keep that on hand, you know, can't go wrong.
Yeah. So you mentioned like sand dabs. So Salty says squid, sand dabs, lizardfish, jack max, chub max. So pretty much any small fish you can catch. Because I was catching sand dabs like crazy last time we went out, but I didn't think to throw one on a jig, you know, or a setup and think it would get bit. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't, but it just didn't really cross my mind. If it doesn't hit those in my mind, it's like mackerel, squid, lizardfish, and then the sand dabs I was just throwing back. I do like sand dabs, but I didn't have my bag with me, but I'll eat those all day.
Oh yeah, so
sand dabs great.
I mean, I kind of made a specialty out of catching different flatfish. When I was out of La Jolla, I had a spot that would cough up Greenland halibut. Wow. I mean, your limit's 10. They weigh anywhere between 8 and 30 pounds a piece. I mean,
right?
You can't go wrong.
But you've thrown a sand dab on a rig and that'll work, huh?
Many times.
Wow, it's interesting.
If sand dabs are there, something's going to be eating them. It could be Greenland halibut, could be lingcod, could be big calicos or sand bass, could be white sea bass. Anything that'll orient to the bottom has a chance of hammering a sand dab, I think.
Interesting. I'll have to try that for sure.
Just be warned when you use sand dabs. Some of our really big skate species really love sand dabs. So when those things are around, your odds of pulling up a fish over 60 or 70 inches long is very, very good. And those things are absolutely insane. If you catch one of those over 55 inches, that's a fish of a lifetime for most guys.
That's awesome. Yeah. And how do you like skate? I've heard some people say it's trash and other people say it's pretty good. So because you can only eat the wings, right? Like the sides. I think it's
you really only eat the loins and the upper part of the back. I think skates are pretty. You know, if you want to eat fish, just catch all the sand dabs you want. You know, there's no reason to go kill a 7-foot long skate. You know,
just throw it back. Show some mercy.
Yeah, just unhook them to get them pointed toward the bottom so you can start flapping. And you know, like I said, if the fishery we have here off Southern California, and let's just ignore everything else. Let's ignore all the yellowtail and the bluefin tuna and everything. The bonitos, the skipjacks, the skates, the sharks, the giant rays we have here, all the sand dabs, the rock soles, the flatfish, all this stuff that nobody bothers with, that 99% of anglers never even know about.
Yeah.
If this fishery was in the UK, they'd be charging $1,000 a day to come out and fish this place.
Wow. Just because the limited species they have out there.
Yeah. I mean, these guys catch a blonde ray that weighs 8 pounds and they're jumping up and down like they just won the lottery.
Yeah. I think we're spoiled here, you know, in San Diego because we want those. We want the bluefin, we want the yellowtail, and then we don't even bother for all the other stuff. You know,
bluefin, yellowtail, and white sea bass. That's what we want. We don't want anything else. What is all this garbage that's out here?
Right, I mean, it's true. I mean, I'm guilty of that too. I want to go out there and get a yellowtail or a white sea bass, or it was a disappointing day. You know, at La Jolla, it's like, oh, I like how it was calicos. You know, that kind of dozen calicos and sand bass and a bunch of rockfish, but I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I'll cry a river for you guys.
Right. It's true. It's so spoiled.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's really a fashion thing too. It's really weird, but like, I mean, you could be in 300 feet of water, and you can have 15 feet of sand dabs down there.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean. It's insanity how many sand dabs we have. If this was anywhere else in the world, there'd be bottom gear out everywhere, dragging them in by the thousands of pounds.
And the sand dabs, they don't fall under the rockfish regulations, or do they?
No.
So you can keep them if they're caught on sabiki, but you can't keep rockfish though, right, on the sabiki.
Yeah, you can't keep rockfish caught on the sabiki. There's sort of a gray area. I'm sure the wardens don't think of it as a gray area, but there's sort of a gray area where maybe you can keep the first one if you don't have any more gear in the water with 2 hooks or something.
Right.
I mean,
that's what I advise the guys. Like, if you catch a rockfish, don't really throw anything with 2 hooks in it anymore. You know,
yeah.
Because it was funny. We were catching me and Salty. We were catching huge whitefish on the sabiki, and I was like, I've never seen that before. I mean, you're talking these tiny little hooks, and we were we were pulling up like fat whitefish and throwing them back,
man.
obviously, but it was wild.
I don't think whitefish fall under the hook rule either. I don't think. I'd have to really look, but there's
interesting. No, I think they're under the bag, but don't they count as the bag like the 10 rockfish rule? I'm not sure.
Nope.
Just check your regulations, guys. Don't take anything.
So it's the RCG. It's rockfish, cabezon, and greenling. That's what goes into that 10 limit.
Okay.
Whitefish are their
whitefish
own
is
thing.
separate. Interesting.
I know what I'd be doing if I was catching fat whitefish. I wouldn't be complaining about no yellowtail. I'd have a really nice fish fry at the end of the day. I don't know what you guys.
I was pulling up some hogs, and I forgot my bag. With all my ice in it. Because usually I carry it. We were catching them early, so it's like, man. I would have caught 10
and I would have gone home.
Yeah. But the sabiki was the whitefish killer, which was crazy. We were putting it down there looking for squid and just pulling up these big old fatties. I'm on my sabiki rod, and it's got no bend to it, no anything. And it was such a fun, it was a weird fight, because you feel the jerk, but it's just the rod is so stiff. It's not even a rod. It's like a tube with a line through it. So
it's a piece of
pipe. Whitefish were crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if it were me, I wouldn't be worried about it. The minute I saw a sabiki full of those, the yellowtail would leave my mind.
Yeah, they're good for sure.
Delicious.
Yeah. Yellowtail, it's the trophy fish. That's the whole thing with it. Cave Dog wants to know if there's a limit on sand dabs.
It's all you can catch +1 of the Pacific sand dab, but deep water flatfish identification is tricky. Okay. Yeah. It's tricky even for me, and I've spent a lot of time with a ton of hooks out on bottom in flat areas, and I still, to this day, I'm not sure some of the fish that I caught and brought back just so I could try to identify them.
Right. Yeah.
And that's from a guy.
Careful, guys, too, because if you guys don't know, the sand dab is a flatfish. So I've caught some micro California halibut too, so you have to know the difference. Like I pulled up tiny little halibut that you would think, oh, it's just a sand dab, or maybe you think it's a small halibut and it's actually a sand dab. So look at some pictures, do some research. There's sole, sand dabs, there's the turbot. You've got a lot of flatfish, so you got to kind of know what you're looking at there.
Yeah, and it's funny. Even the wardens don't always know. Like I used to, as I mentioned, I used to go catch Greenland halibut, right? Well, the great big black ugly teeth sticking out the front of their face thing. They don't look like any other flatfish I have ever seen in my life ever. So I had a 10 limit of them that was probably, 150, 180 pounds worth at least, maybe more.
Interesting. So John, welcome. He's saying whitefish are federally managed ground fish, so they're closed during the winter alongside rockfish, but I don't think their multi-hook rule applies to them. So they have that same, maybe that's where I got mixed up, because I see they have the same regulation, like it closes and then it opens at March, and the whitefish are included in that. So maybe that's where I kind of thought they were with that same hook rule.
And there's a whole bunch of federally managed ground fish, including the sand dabs. So
interesting.
But there's all these other flatfish that we have. We probably have, 30 or 40 different species of flatfish out here.
Yeah.
And
it's like fishing rules is like it's like the tax code. Nobody really freaking knows. Like some of the rules are so vague or sweeping, and there's loophole. It's like it's so hard to stay on top of. It's like you're saying, when the game wardens don't even know. That's like when you go to a IRS agent or a tax professional and you ask them a tax question and they're like, I don't know. I have no clue.
I have no idea. Yeah.
It's so confusing.
And this guy was trying to act like they were Pacific halibut or something. I'm like, look, the eyes are on the wrong side. Lateral line's wrong. Teeth are wrong. Eyes are in the wrong position. There's dark, there's no fully white side on most of these. You have to know there's something other than a Pacific halibut. And he was like thinking he was going to call the authorities and have me arrested, confiscate my truck and everything till I talked to him about it. I mean, he's just trying to do his job. He doesn't.
Yeah, because they don't play around. I mean, those guys, they're crazy.
Yeah, part of
the reason, you down quick.
Part of the reason I stopped fishing La Jolla right there.
Yeah, I mean, I heard stories where those guys are watching you with the binoculars up on the hill, watching the MPA, just basically wait for you to screw up, or you get caught. So they want to write you tickets for sure. So be careful. Yeah.
So
you want me to bring up this map or?
Yeah, if you want. we kind of got sidetracked. You
Yeah,
wanted
I
to know
know.
more about Yellowtail, and here we are talking about the
Yeah, so
icons at Sandow.
back to La Jolla. So we're going out to La Jolla, and some of these guys want to catch yellowtail. I mean,
I mean,
what are we looking for?
I'd look for any worm-like markings on your fish finder. I'd look for any kind of vertical movement on your fish finder. And honestly, I would throw something else while you're looking around or while you're waiting, unless you just want to spend all day dragging a live mackerel around on a 3-way rig. I mean,
yeah,
which obviously, if that's your passion, go for it. It's awesome, whatever. But to me, I would say get a jig on. Either not really a yo-yo iron, but any of these mid-weighted jigs will catch yellowtail, at least occasionally. So, if you don't have the live squid, obviously, if you have the live squid, grab your knocker rig, your blinder rig, dropper if you're into that, or spider hitch. But, I've always liked the knocker rig for any bait I have to hook in the back, and I prefer it for squid too because it makes them swim diagonally.
What's a knocker rig?
Basically a sliding weight, a bead, and a hook.
Okay. So sort of like a Carolina rig, just not on the bottom, sort of thing.
Just with no swivels or anything else. You have only one.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
One knot.
So no swivel. It's the weight on the thing.
Yep.
Okay.
And then when you feel them pick it up, you can hit the lever, and your weight will drop away from the bait. So if he comes along and picks up the bait, you can hit the lever, and the weight will shoot off towards you or towards the bottom while he eats it.
So it's like a Texas rig that you're not putting on the bottom, basically.
Or a
little heavier,
as close as you want, as close as you can. I think. Okay. Because most of the time squid aren't swimming around on top of the water, so
yeah,
you want it to be down in the water column, somewhere near the bottom or on bottom. One thing
squid.
It does work if you're in real shallow and you're chumming them into the line. It can be absolutely effective, but typically you put at least some weight on them to point them downward so that they're swimming down.
That makes sense.
And obviously, the deeper it is, the more current you have, the heavier the line or leader, the heavier the weight needs to be.
Cool.
So, I mean, if it were me and I didn't have live squid or I didn't have really good live bait, I'd be working a jig or a swim bait. I really would be. I'd put it out there about 2, 3, 4 feet off bottom, and I'd work it over the bottom as best I could. And I'd watch my fish finder for any worms, any vertical movement. So if you see some activity at the bottom and then all of a sudden it's 40 feet higher in the water column, that means those fish are swimming up and they're probably getting ready to feed.
And then what about type of day? Get out early, all day? What's your opinion on that?
I think your best odds at 10 minutes of time for you to catch yellowtail is 5 minutes at sunrise and 5 minutes at sunset.
Okay.
I think that's your best shot.
Pretty standard, yeah.
Larger predators, and in particular white sea bass, you're looking at the pre-dawn and post-dawn, right? Or the pre-dawn and post-dusk. So you want that darkness on the water. You want those just barely as little light as possible out there, and those white sea bass will come in to feed.
Cool. So moral of the story, get out early.
Get out early or go out in the afternoon.
Or go out late. That's not for me. I'm an early bird. Eric, there you go. Eric Lehman, man. Nighttime fishing, La Jolla. You should do it.
Straight money, dude. I've never caught a 20-pound sheephead during the day, and I've probably caught 40 or 50 of them.
Interesting. Interesting.
That should tell you something. I've caught several dozen 10-pound plus calicos. I've never caught one while the sun was out.
Yeah, that's good advice. So, I mean, with the yellowtail, we know. I mean, I think everybody kind of knows. Right now, the squid are in, so probably using squid. Get out in there early. That's your best chance of bite. So let's say, Coach Werf, Coach Werf is going out to La Jolla. What are you fishing for? And what are you bringing? What would be your ideal day at La Jolla?
Well, my ideal.
What are you targeting, I guess, if you're not going to go for the yellowtail?
So even, I would target other stuff that would give me an outside shot at a yellowtail. I would diversify what I'm doing. So first of all, anytime I went to La Jolla, I had either shrimp or I had the cleanest frozen squid I could find. So Zion Market, H Mart, Vian Dong, Lucky Seafood. You want food grade squid. And I would get the big ones, the big 18-inch ones, the arrowhead squid. And I would cut some nice strips off. And I'd keep them nice and cool so that they stayed fresh and tasty. And I would put, a lot of times I'd either run a lead head or a donkey jig or a bucktail. And I would use that piece of squid as a trailer, and I'd be drifting that around in the dark. I caught a number of white sea bass doing that. I think I caught a couple of yellowtail doing that too while I was trying to catch live bait. So while I'm working my sabiki, I've got this bucktail out there bouncing over the bottom to be found by who knows what.
With a piece of squid on it.
With a strip of squid on it, yeah. Or, dropper loop or whatever. I'm a multi-species guy, but I don't want to exclude any species. The more species I can invite to the table, the more likely I am to succeed. So, fresh, lively live bait is always a good option. Working it on any kind of current structure you can find, or any sort of ledges or channels or ridges. The inside or outside edge of the kelp bed is a place I would look. Other spots, and of course, keep your head on a swivel. If you see birds, if you see dolphins, if you see whales, if you see sea lions pushing bait or working with the ponies, that can be the fish know way more about it than you do.
Yeah.
So, and another thing I've noticed over the years, this might benefit you. So, one thing I've noticed time and time again. So there will be a huge bunch of boiling bonito or barracuda or frigate tunas or whatever crap fish that you don't want to target. Okay, well, what do? We look for what's different, right? So after a while, your eye will kind of, oh yeah, that's barracuda feeding right there.
Right.
But then on that outside edge, something else is pushing bait. It could be big bass. It could be yellowtail. It could be white sea bass. And especially with barracuda, white sea bass and barracuda go hand in hand. I don't know why that is, but it's true.
Interesting.
So working that water underneath those barracuda can produce a fish of a lifetime, and I am not kidding.
Wow. That's good advice.
So a lot of times, you'll see like a big barracuda or a bonito boil, or, it'll be like 4-pound Jack Max, which by the way tastes better than any yellowtail. So I would just go catch a crap load of Jack Max and take them all home.
Yeah, you must be Dario's brother.
Yeah,
preaching those mackerels. I think Salty caught some and cooked them up the other day too. So that's what I hear. He's been raving about them.
Dude, Jack mackerel. The jacks are so delicious and so tender and so easy to prepare compared to a yellowtail. They won't dry out. They don't have a coarse grain to the meat. They have a really fine flavor. They don't go off flavor. If you set them out on your counter for 20 minutes, in many ways, I would consider them superior to yellowtail, other than the fighting aspect. But of course, you could scale down to a
just bring the live well and keep all your baits and take them in when you don't catch the big one.
Yep, you betcha. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times you'll see these great big boils, and then on the outside you'll see something that looks a little different, or you'll see something isolated off where something else is pushing up and on them.
Right.
And sometimes it's yellowtail, sometimes it's white sea bass or whatever. So just keep that eye out and learn to discern what you're looking at from one thing to the next.
Yeah, and I think that just comes with just being out there too. The more you go out, it's like when something's off, or you hear something. That's when I was out in Carlsbad and got in that big bluefin boil. It was like, it was so quiet, but in the distance I heard, it was like I heard the rustling, the birds started diving, and I knew something was up, and I thought it was dolphins at first. And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, that can't be bluefin. I'm only a mile off the coast. And I got a little closer. And I was convinced it was dolphins, but the birds were diving, and then sure enough, those things were just flying out of the water, and they were a ways away, but I was able to paddle up on them, and it was just, you get that sixth sense, or something is off. And we caught that a little bit last week too, where there was this rippling in the water, and it didn't look like that anywhere else. And the bait was just started to come up, and the fish weren't boiling, but the bait was flickering, and it was making the surface. So I started throwing into that pile, just something was up, something's pushing that bait up from the bottom. So, and I think that's just being out there, and you guys know what he's talking about. The more you're out, you get in tune with the ocean, and when something's not right. You're like, oh, I've seen these waves a million times. And then, like you're saying, something changes, the birds start acting different, and you're like, okay, there's something going on here. And
yeah.
Be alert for that. That's good advice.
And time on the water really is. I mean, there is no replacement for time on the water, no matter what you're doing.
That's anything in life. You want to be good, you got to put the time on the water. Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah. So, do you want to run through some of these charts and stuff I pulled up a little bit? Just kind of looking at some stuff.
Let me pull this up here for sure, and then we'll get you on your way. I don't want to take you for too long. I know you've already given us a lot of your time today, so I appreciate that.
Actually, I'm on COVID-related restrictions, so I'm not going anywhere or doing anything anytime soon. So
you got 14 days with this.
Hey, I got 20. I got an extra 7.
Wow, nice.
Yay for me. It's really going to be great. We'll see if my wife doesn't kill me before this crap is over.
Yeah. You have to start your own show. 24/7. Just do a live stream where it's just on like the whole day.
Where I'm just blathering on all day. Yeah, I'm sure people would love to see that crap. Good Lord.
Let's get on Twitch.
I'm annoying enough for 20-25 minutes on your show. Good Lord.
Well, they're still here, so.
They didn't all leave? What?
Yeah, they didn't all leave yet.
All right. Are we looking at my little offshore chart here? Okay. Yeah, so this is what the bathymetry off La Jolla actually looks like for the people who don't know. Here's the don't tell anybody, the 32 spot. Here's the high bank here. And I think this thing here is Loose Rock. And I think it sits in about 470 feet of water. But essentially what you're looking for yellowtail is probably going to be a little farther inshore, not really where this thing covers. But let's go to a spot I've seen yellowtail breezing a few times. Yeah, right about here somewhere. So, so there's the children's pool. So out here a couple hundred yards, you'll quite often see yellowtail piling up in the evening on this edge right here. So the kelp is here. You got to slot through the kelp. They'll pile up on the corner.
Just outside the kelp.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, anywhere bait's going to get funneled through, anywhere current gets funneled through, anywhere faster water meets slower, that's where the yellowtail are going to have the advantage over the bait. That's where they're going to want to stack up. And again, we're talking about dawn and dusk.
Right.
When I fish La Jolla from the shore, I very often see yellowtail come up, even just outside the surf sometimes.
Oh, wow.
But I usually don't see them come up for more than 5 or 6 minutes.
So they're in and out.
Yeah. So they're breezing around, but they feed especially heavy at those moments. So, if you're there and you can take advantage of that dawn and dusk bite, or at least be aware of it, you see the birds start acting funny, get yourself into a position where you might be able to do something.
Definitely.
Drift a bait in there, cast a jig in there, get some squid under there, bounce a bucktail underneath it, or diamond jig or mid jig or mega bait or laser minnow or, whatever your poison is. So, get ready to get something in there if it does start to turn into something. Right. So again, we keep our head on a swivel. We're looking around all the time. We try, even while we're looking around, to have something working for us. A bucktail, a swim bait, a plastic skirt, a hoochie, something. Put something out.
Right.
And, have it appeal to as many types of fish as possible. Then yeah.
Like you're saying, don't just be fishing for the one, right? Keep your options. Put something out there that's going to catch multiple species. Yeah.
Try to exclude as few as you can.
So you're saying if you want the yellowtail to laser, get something that a yellowtail's probably going to bite.
Get something that at least they might take a swipe at.
Okay.
I kind of stopped fishing La Jolla just because the people there, and then it was always crowded and it was pain.
Yeah, that's true. That is. It's still like that. Yeah,
I started fishing west of Mission Bay. I'd be the only kayak I could see out there like 99% of the time. Nobody else is out there. Everybody goes into the bay right as the sun goes down. So right as the yellowtail and white sea bass started feeding, I would have the whole entire ocean all to myself.
Yeah. So it sounds like maybe we just need to change spots. Go try something else, and I'm all down for that. Like I said, if I can get bluefin and Carlsbad, I mean, they're out there. I mean, it wasn't much different than La Jolla, and I was the only one there. The difference was the surf, I think
yes.
I think people go to La Jolla because it's sheltered right there. And it's easy to launch. It's an easy launch most of the time. I mean, even when it's rough, it's like, it's not that bad.
Well, I mean, to me, it's the same thing with Mariner's Basin. So you can launch out of Mariner's Basin, you can be in open water in less than a mile and a quarter.
Right.
Even with my old fat girl, the fish and dive, man, I loved her to death. Even with her, I could be outside the jetties within 45 minutes, maybe, if I just paddled consistently.
Right. And that's nice too, because then you're not launching at surf at all. You just, right. You go to the bay and then slip through the jetty, and that's pretty nice. I mean, that's pretty nice.
If it was real big, and we had crossed out swell, the swell was straight from the west, which can make getting out of Mission Bay problematic or even dangerous. Well, there's 4 kelp beds associated with the jetties I could go fish.
Right.
I could go fish the bigger rocks that fell off Hospitality Point when they built it about 20 years ago or so. Nice. There's rocks laying out there on the sand, and those rocks can hold some pretty interesting fish. You could fish there during the day, and you'd swear there wasn't a fish within 100 miles. But then when the sun goes down, all of a sudden, certain areas will come to life, and you will absolutely spank them.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is, don't waste your time at La Jolla. Go to West Mission Bay.
I wouldn't say La Jolla is a waste of time. I'm just, for what I was looking for out of my experience, it just wasn't giving it to me.
That's good insight. I mean, like you're saying, if you're the only one out there, and it's like, we go out to La Jolla sometimes, freaking 30 kayakers out there in the same spot,
Yeah,
it's
one of the
makes sense to try somewhere else,
it's one of the reasons I really like fishing La Jolla from shore. You know how often I see La Jolla shore fishermen that want to deal with all the dogs and screaming kids and all the people around. Hey, there's nobody fishing for a mile each direction.
There's something to be said for that, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, so I feel like the closer you are to the mouth of Mission Bay, the less it gets fished by anybody.
Right.
So people, they leave there and they head up to La Jolla, or they head out to the banks, or they head down to Point Loma.
Right. They're just kind of going past it, basically.
Yeah. So all that hard bottom that's out there in 60 to 100 feet, a lot of it doesn't get fished very often. In the evenings, bait really piles up in front of Mission Bay, so it can be extremely easy to make bait. There's a squid spot not too far from North Jetty that I won't talk too much about, but there is one. So, when I felt like paddling up there, I could just paddle up there, and if the squid were there, great. And if they weren't, well, I always had plan B, C, D, E, and F. And
right.
And it wasn't like anyone was going to be fishing in the spot I wanted to fish. Right.
Yeah. There's nobody out there. That's true.
There was literally no one there. So, I mean, so although I gave up the Greenland halibut right before the MPAs went into effect up there, I think it was a good trade.
Sounds like it, for sure. I think we're gonna have to go do some scouting.
Just realize it might take you a while to get the feel of the place.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's got its own moods too, just like La Jolla.
It's everywhere. Yeah. At least in La Jolla, it's like, if you want to catch something, I mean, there's plenty out there. No matter what day it is, you can catch something for sure. I feel like
number 4 hook and shrimp.
Yeah.
A number 4 hook and shrimp. Find any kind of hard bottom, put it out there. You will be in.
You're gonna get it. Yeah. That's true. Good stuff. Well, Coach, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
If you have anything else to add, it was great having you.
Well, why don't we just go through these? Knowledge. Why don't we just go through these other 2 or 3 real quick?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you got more, lay it on.
Yeah. So this is kind of our forecast. So we were talking about La Jolla, so I figured I'd look up a general forecast, and then we could look at something a little more specific. But it looks very good heading into the weekend.
Nice.
I mean, swell 1 to 2 feet at 12 seconds, 2 to 3 feet at 15. Totally doable on Saturday.
Easy.
Tomorrow morning, I mean, it's more of the same. I mean, all the way through Sunday, heading into Tuesday. As far as the crystal ball goes, it's looking beautiful. So I just want to let everybody know that at least your general offshore forecast is very good. Nice. If you wanted to try one of those beach launches that you've been kind of intimidated by, like up at Carlsbad or down at IB, you want to go out and fish the flats for the fish that aren't there down there right now. Yeah. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say about that. But anyways, yes, there's some fish down in IB right now, supposedly. Rumor.
Has it.
Yeah. I didn't see pictures or anything. Don't worry about it. All right. So then we'll look at a little more specific marine forecast. This one's right off Mission Bay, kind of Ocean Beach, northern end of Point Loma. Again, we're seeing 2 foot swell, 3 foot swell, 12, 16 seconds.
That's easy.
I mean, if you're intimidated by a launch at Ocean Beach or, off some of the beaches south, or, even if you want to get to the jetty lot early and launch next to the jetty, I mean, you're not going to have a much better chance than this,
Right. Take that all day.
Yeah. This is evening beach launch conditions in my mind. This is me throwing in the fish and dive south of Ocean Beach Pier on that little piece of sand and paddling south and west. And then here's kind of our SSTs. Again, we see that strong warming pattern coming up into the bite. It's looking good. That. Looking good for our very near future offshore and inshore too. That.
Good stuff. Wait for those bonito to come back.
Yeah, man, fun, good eating. You bleed them, you get them on ice. Man, best tuna salad that doesn't involve tuna ever.
I love it.
Yeah, definitely have some good conditions coming up. So if you can get out and take advantage of those, please, people.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Awesome. Good deal. So I don't think we have any more questions. Dude, awesome having you on. I love the insight, love the knowledge.
If you
it's valuable, man. I mean, totally just adding value to these listeners. I mean, they really appreciate it. So you guys go to Coach Werf TV on YouTube, look him up, subscribe, go check out his channel. He's always posting stuff on there. You can find him on SD Fish, the Discord, and he'll find you. Just post something. I guarantee you. He'll get a hold of you one way or the other.
Yeah. And if anybody has anything specific or, if you'd like to have me back on, I'm not going to be doing anything for a while. So I'm happy to come back on if you have specific questions or if you want to talk about how to target other stuff, or if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. Or if you want a breakdown of a spot or anything you need, hit me up. I'm not doing too much, so I'm happy to help out. I'm happy to spread knowledge or, what little's left in there, after all these years.
Eric said he's going to put another bass in that little body of water.
Oh, no. Good luck finding it, Eric. Good luck. It's okay if you do, though. I'll kill that one, too.
Maybe it was Eric this whole time.
Maybe it was. I see how you are, Eric. I see how you are.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have you on. I like having you on. I love the knowledge, right? I mean, much more knowledgeable than I am. I mean, I'm like a fishing enthusiast, and you're one of the black belts we're trying to be. So I appreciate that, man. I really do.
I've caught a few in my time, and in my mind,
a few thousand.
In my mind, there's no secrets. I mean, other than like specific spots, like a 10-foot circle somewhere. There's really no secrets to this. Stay mobile. Have that mindset. Unless you are just going to go big fish or go home, which I get, it. But if that's not your mindset going in, you're going to catch a lot more fish. You're going to have a lot more fish fries at the end of it. You're going to have a lot more experiences this year, and you might surprise yourself. If you step outside what's done every day by everybody all the time, you might surprise yourself. There's more than one way to skin a dog, for sure. So to speak.
I've never skinned a dog, but I'll take your word for it.
I don't know. I ate some skewers in the Philippines once upon a time. I'm pretty sure some dogs might have been involved there.
It's probably not that bad, yeah.
As long as I think it's pork, I'm good.
Yeah. You don't know, right? It's all the same. It's all mammal. Awesome. Well, Coach, it was good having you. Thanks again, and I'm sure we'll have you on again. And until next time.
You just let me know, Muta.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. Peace, man.
All right. Bye. Thank you, Coach Werf. I mean, that was awesome. I hope you guys get some value out of that. I think it's always great. I love having him on. Anybody that, sharing knowledge like that with us is just insight. I mean, even just the small things like I would have never thought the sand bass, the white sea bass are following barracuda, like it's little stuff like that. You wouldn't know unless you know. But now when and I've gotten into so many like barracuda boils, or where you're catching 30 barracuda, and I mean, now I'm gonna be throwing stuff a little lower into that water column and see what we can get. Maybe go for some of that bigger stuff for sure. So it's good news. We got about 5 minutes left. Yeah. So when he was talking about the squid, and I know some of you guys had questions, we were catching them on the sabiki. Last time we were using just the sabiki with the glow beads on them. This one's got the glow fish skin and the glow beads. And basically I just use a sabiki stick. And it's just a hollow. So I have a dedicated rod for the sabiki. And what I use is, this is the end of it. And you can see it's hollow. And basically the sabiki comes out and then the weight just stays in. So you just keep this on your boat. And then this is the tube. I just set it up with it. I just got a little cheap. I got like the cheapest conventional reel I could find. This is some plastic Akuma something, but you don't need, anything beefy. There's one guide in it, and then it's basically just a hollow stick. And the advantages to something like this is, before I was using, you either have to use a dedicated rod or you have to take the sabiki off. The dedicated rod's fine, but then you got a whole rod tied up with the sabiki. But then the biggest problem with the sabiki is the sabiki hooks. That's the biggest mess. That's why the hollow tube, all the hooks go inside, and you don't have to worry about it. So even when you've got a dedicated rod, every time you reach back or it gets stuck in the backpack arms or anything that's got like cloth or thread, it's just a mess. Or I've taken it off before and set it on the kayak, but then it's done. By the time you pick it up, it's like it's tangled up. There's 6 hooks on it. You can't get it out. And then we were talking about you can get squid sabikis and stuff made for squid. So I picked this up at Turner's today. This is the glow bead, and this is made directly for squid. So what I'm going to do is just put this on, use this as the weight. So it'll go directly in here, and then it just stays there. When you want to drop it, you drop it. So what I'm going to do is that sabiki shot, so it's already missing a couple hooks. So I'm going to take this glow sabiki with the little glow beads, and this one's got the glow skin on it. And you see it's got the little hook on back. So basically I'm just going to use this as the weight. I mean, this is like, I think a 4 or 5 ounce weight with the squid jig already on it. So I'm going to have the squid jig on the bottom of the sabiki. So I'm going to have squid jig plus sabiki. I think it'll work. It should work, and then if you're not even catching squid, I don't think this will matter, right? It's not going to, mackerel aren't going to bite it or anything, but it's not going to be a problem. So this is what it came in. It just came in a bag. It's Leadmaster's glow squid jig. Drops like a bullet. Like I said, it just comes in a plastic bag. It's just hanging. I got this at Turner's, and you can pretty much get stuff like this at any tackle shop. So I'll report back and tell you guys how it is. So I think that on the end of a glow sabiki, I mean, should be good. Should be our best chance to at least get on some squid, or if not the squid, like I said, we were pulling up whitefish, sand dabs like crazy just on the sabiki. Is like every time I put it down, if you weren't getting the squid, you're getting some other type of fish. So yeah, let us know. I'm going to go out to La Jolla Saturday. So if you guys want to join, let me know. I think Dario might be going out there. It's usually, I think last week it was me, Salty, and Stingray. Salty, Stingray, I owe you guys both stickers, and you were both there in person, and I totally forgot to bring them. Eric even reminded me. He was like, bring Salty his stickers. So Jessica also reminded me, and I forgot. I just got to throw some in my van. It was like, Stingray stickers too. So there was just 3 of us last week, but I know La Jolla is not some of your guys' thing. It's no big deal. Fish the bays, just go out there and fish, do something. But yeah, if you want to go out there, we'll be out there. Dario said he's in, so it'll at least be me and Dario. We'll be out there catching all the yellowtail. Eric will not be out there. We'll get you out there one day, Eric. Right? Your sticker, Salty. I'm glad you didn't remind me, because I would have been like, I saw you guys and I was like, oh crap, I forgot the stickers. And then nobody said anything, so I just like faded off into the sunset without mentioning it. Yeah, but we have stickers. If you guys want to, but yeah, anything else? You have any questions? I mean, if not, we'll send you guys out. Go to submissionfishing.com. You guys, we got t-shirts on sale now. We got the stickers, we got the fish frosting. Fish frosting, of course, is the scent that I make. That's kind of the main thing I've been trying to push and get out there. That's like my, what do you call that? Not my brainchild, my my little signature bait. That's kind of started the whole thing. So if you want to support the stream, go check that out. I'll have some more videos on. Go check out my last videos. I got some on launching the surf in Carlsbad. And you guys haven't seen that. We talked about that a lot. I got beat up on the surf. Found a bluefin boil. It was pretty awesome. And I'll be making some other core videos as well coming up. Hopefully some on La Jolla. That'd also be great. Yeah, Eric said, Eric, you guys seen that picture? He got a 17-inch spotty on the fish frosting. So, dude, that's awesome. I love seeing that stuff. Keep posting it. Everybody that's been on there and supported me, dude, I really appreciate it. We'll be out there Saturday. You can get a hold of me Discord if you guys want to fish. And if you have any questions for me or Coach, or you want to see Coach in the future, just let me know if you guys like that sort of stuff. I'll have him back on some future streams and drop some knowledge. I like having him, especially when it's kind of slow news weeks in the fishing world. It's just good. I like keeping it real fishing focused. If you want more bay fishing stuff, check out Fishy Hour Wednesdays. Roman and Brian, they do a show all about bay fishing. This one I wanted to do a little more offshore kayak fishing off the coast because at that end they've got that bay fishing dialed in. So it was nice to be able to change it up a little bit. But thanks for joining, guys. It was good having you. I know I didn't get to talk too much. Coach did all the heavy lifting. So thank you, Coach. Again, WerfTV, go check them out. And we'll see you guys on the water, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining. Bye.